If you want to run an NEC project that actually makes money and keep a good relationship with your client, you need to understand one thing first. Profit on NEC doesn't happen by chance. It comes from the right decisions on site. I've been working on NEC projects for over 20 years. I've led commercial teams on major infrastructure projects, including the Olympics, Crossrail, Thames Tideway, HS2. I've also been a director of my own subcontracting business, and now I help contractors make money on their projects. Everything I'm about to share comes from doing the work and going through the experience myself. Today I'm giving you the 5-step playbook I would use if I was starting an NEC project tomorrow. If you get this wrong, and you'll spend months chasing payment, arguing over entitlement and firefighting problems you didn't cause. But if you get it right, you can build a project that generates real profit, doesn't rely on you making every decision, and gives you freedom. Here's where most projects go wrong. People think NEC success sits with the commercial team, but it doesn't. Yes, the commercial team must understand the contract, but they're massively outnumbered. You've got far more non-commercial people influencing outcomes every single day. So NEC success comes from alignment, not from people working on their own. The goal isn't blind collaboration. The goal is teamwork, but aligned with the contract. And that starts with the language of the contract. We all know construction has its own language. NEC just adds another layer, and using it wrong can cause real problems on site. As an example, you need to know the difference between the scope, the works information and the site information. And if your team doesn't know this, they'll make decisions that can lose you money and also lead to defects. And this matters most when we talk about early warnings. Early warnings are not complaints. Early warnings, in fact, are the backbone of NEC. They're not about moaning about issues, they're about protecting time, cost and relationships. Now, an early warning can identify a potential issue. If early warnings are used correctly, someone in your team will identify a potential issue. The person who identifies the issue should be involved all the way through. They should get updated as the situation develops. And the early warning should only close when that person in the team is happy that the issue has been resolved. Now, this is critical because when site teams raise issues early, your commercial teams need to do less reactive work. Their problems are managed, not argued about. And this working in silos disappears. Now, internally, you can handle early warnings in dedicated risk meetings, or you can just bring them up as part of your regular team meetings. What matters is that everyone feels responsible for spotting these risks. Most programs fail before the job even starts, and this is because they're not written by the people who are doing the work. So at the start of an NEC project, you may have 10 different works information documents. Each document may be owned by a different department, and each of these departments may have different milestones. As an example, your design manager may know what needs approval, who needs to approve it, and how long the contract gives them to reply. If the contract allows 4 weeks for approval, that 4 weeks must be in the program. And also, your procurement manager will know lead-in times for materials. They will also know what can't be ordered until design approval is complete. Now, all of that belongs in the program, because later, when compensation events arise, the program is what protects your money. Now, compensation events only work if you use them properly. Most NEC contracts have around 20 compensation events. Now, you don't need to master all of them, but you do need to know which are the common ones. So here's a classic example. A drawing has been emailed to your project manager. So do you build to it? Well, you shouldn't until you receive a formal instruction changing the works information. Because until then, that drawing has no contractual standing. But if you build it anyway, you may lose money or create a defect. But if that change is instructed properly, it becomes a compensation event and you have an opportunity to get paid. And the same applies to late replies to submissions and approvals that exceed contractual timescales. Also, if people do things that are different to what's stated in the works information. All of these can trigger compensation events if your program and your records are correct. Now finally, payment is everyone's responsibility. Payment isn't just a commercial issue. The wider team affects it every day. As an example, do you have people working on the project before you get access to sites? So it's important to know what is written in the contract as the working area. And also you need to know, are you keeping timesheets accurately? Because when compensation events are being assessed on defined costs, you need to have labour records. These need to say what people were doing, when they were working on a compensation event, what materials and plant they used. If those records exist as you go along, quotations become faster, cleaner and easier to agree. The real point is that highly profitable NEC projects don't happen because you argue harder, you hire better lawyers or you work longer hours. They happen because the whole team understands the contract. The programme reflects reality and risk is managed early. And that's how you make NEC work for you and not against you. And that's how you build projects and businesses that actually make money.